The porch light flickered once, like a nervous eye. I heard the screen door click, slow, careful, almost hopeful. My hand didn't move. My body didn't react. I stayed planted in the dark inside, watching the sliver of her silhouette through the glass. She stood there for a long moment, shoulders stiff, eyes scanning the house as if expecting a trap. The kind of scan a person makes when they've already done something they know is wrong. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced at it, then at the door, then back at the phone again, like she was reading a message from someone who had become her lifeline. Then she whispered my name. Not loud enough for me to hear, but loud enough for the air to carry it. She thought I'd come running. She thought I'd beg. She thought she still had the power to make me feel guilty for her choices. I watched her press her forehead to the glass, as if the warmth of the house could melt the coldness in her, and then she turned, like a wounded animal, and walked away without knocking. The porch light blinked again. I stood in the dark, listening to the quiet she left behind. I didn't move. I didn't call. I didn't feel anything that could be called relief, just a calm, clinical silence, like the world had finally aligned with what I already knew. She was gone for a week. Not missing, not traveling, not needing space. Just gone. No warning, no explanation, no message. Just an empty house and the faint scent of her perfume lingering like a memory that didn't belong to me anymore. Her friends called me one after another with the same rehearsed tone. Oh, you know how she is. She needed to teach you a lesson. She needed to prove a point. They said it like it was a harmless game, like her disappearance was a prank, like my panic was just part of the entertainment. They told me she was freeing herself. They told me she was finding herself. They told me she was learning what she deserved. All of them said it like they were proud, like they were watching a masterpiece unfold. Then, on the 7th day, her phone finally rang. I saw the number on the screen. I didn't answer. I let it ring until it stopped. Then I opened the messages she'd left behind, on purpose, in her haste. A single line from her friend group chat. He's going to lose it. Wait until you see him. And that was when the betrayal finally stopped being a rumor and became a fact. Because she wasn't missing. She was hiding. And she wasn't alone. The suspicion didn't arrive like a lightning strike. It arrived like a slow, poisonous drip. Her friends had orchestrated this. They had convinced her to vanish, to punish me, to test me, to watch me break. And the worst part was, I could almost hear their laughter in the silence of my home. I didn't call her. I didn't go searching. I didn't beg. I did what I always do when I want control. I collected facts. I started with the obvious, her phone records, her social media activity, her banking statements, the little things she always forgot to hide. I watched her friends closely, not aggressively, just quietly, like a man watching a predator from a safe distance. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't ask questions. I didn't give them the satisfaction of knowing I was scared. I kept my face calm in public. I smiled at strangers. I nodded at neighbors. I acted like everything was normal. Inside, my mind was a machine. It turned every detail into evidence, every slip of tone into a confession, every pause into proof. When her car's location pinged near the city's edge, I didn't rush. I didn't call the police. I didn't make a scene. I simply noted it. I waited. I watched. The first truth I found was not her absence. It was her plan. She didn't disappear because she was lost. She disappeared because she wanted to see what I would do. And she had help. She had a network. A group of people who fed on my pain, who were delighted by the idea of me losing my grip. I kept my mouth shut. Because I knew what she wanted, a reaction, a breakdown, a spectacle. So I gave her nothing. Only silence. Only calculation. I ordered a DNA test for something she would never expect. A simple test. A quiet, unassuming one. Because I knew she had been playing a game for too long. And games always have rules. And rules always leave evidence. The results came in the mail on a rainy afternoon. I didn't open them immediately. I set them on the kitchen counter like a threat. Then I waited for her return. When she finally came back, she didn't walk in like a woman who missed her home. She walked in like a woman who expected forgiveness. Like she expected me to beg. Like she expected me to be grateful she'd come back. Her eyes darted around the house. She saw the new locks, the silence, the absence of her things, the emptiness of her side of the bed. Her breath caught. She didn't understand. I didn't say anything. I just held the envelope in my hand. She saw it. And in that moment she knew, not because I told her, because she felt the weight of it. The weight of her own actions. I slid the envelope across the table. She stared at it. Then she opened it with shaking hands. The numbers stared back at her. Cold, unforgiving, absolute. The DNA test confirmed what I already suspected. The child she had told me was mine, was not mine. Her eyes widened. She looked up, searching my face for a reaction. I gave her none. Only the quiet of a man who had already accepted the truth. She tried to speak, but the words came out weak, like she was pleading with a ghost. She stopped. She couldn't finish, because she knew I wasn't going to forgive her, and she knew I wasn't going to beg. She had assumed I would fall apart. She had assumed she could control me. She had assumed wrong. I didn't shout. I didn't slap her. I didn't scream her name. I did something far worse. I made her watch me dismantle her life with the same calm she had used to dismantle mine. I told her I had changed the locks. I told her I had blocked her cards. I told her I had started the divorce process. I watched her body collapse inward, not with anger, with the realization that her safety net had been cut away. She reached for her phone, to call her friends, to beg them to save her, to ask them what to do next. I took the phone and set it on the counter. I did not hand it back. "You wanted to teach me a lesson," I said. My voice was calm, controlled, empty. Her lips trembled. She tried to look angry, but she couldn't. Her fear was too loud. "You wanted to disappear," I continued. "I let you." I watched her try to process it. The shock in her eyes was not because she had been caught. It was because she realized I had been ahead of her the entire time. She wasn't the one in control. She never was. I stood and walked to the front door. I opened it, and she froze. Her sister was standing there, silent, expressionless, like a judge waiting for a verdict. Her sister stepped aside without speaking. And in that moment, my wife understood the final betrayal. She wasn't coming back into her home. She was stepping into a new reality. One where the people she trusted were the ones who had used her. One where her friends had watched her fall and never lifted a hand. Her face crumpled. Not because she was sorry, because she finally saw the truth. She had been the pawn. I closed the door behind her. I didn't lock it. I didn't need to. She had already lost the right to come back. She had already lost the right to my life. The house was quiet again. The air felt cleaner, but the silence was not relief. It was a consequence. I poured myself a drink, not to numb the pain, to mark the end of the story. I stared at the empty space where she used to be. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Clarity, no anger, no desperation, no longing. Just a cold, precise understanding. She wanted to vanish. She vanished, and I didn't chase her, because I had already moved on in a way she would never understand.